So you're here to complain about NGINX and old Python codebase? Well, you're at the right spot. Hi everyone, I'm Michael from Pixeesoft and welcome to our daily Scrum. This is our daily show in our sprint where I talk about the obstacles that I'm facing as I'm migrating an existing application, an old codebase, from bare metal to cloud. So let's jump right into our Scrum board, our tasks board, what we're currently working in. But first, let me address this going on, the t-shirt, Firebase. That's right. Yesterday morning, I just received my confirmation. I'm going to the Firebase Summit in Madrid this September. So if you're also coming, drop a comment below and let's meet and let's talk about everything you use Firebase for. I'm happy to chat. Even about this migration from bare metal to cloud, I'm super stoked to talk about it. All right, but now let's get into the tasks. So yesterday we talked about NGINX and how we'll have to use an NGINX Ingress Controller to serve our WebSockets, because there are certain limitations that the Ingress Controller given by Google Cloud Platform, that means that it's not good enough for our deployment. And NGINX Ingress Controller supports WebSockets right out of the box without a need to have health endpoint. So that was great. That was like, oh, perfect. Let's go for it. So in fact, yeah, I deployed it and I thought it would be really hard, but in fact, it's now super easy. You just use Helm and Tiller. Helm being the packaging system and Tiller being the client server client through which you install the Helm charts. And it's in fact just one command to install the whole NGINX controller. And then you just need to do certain steps. For example, if you want SSL, if you want to have an automatic SSL generation, then you can't use the managed certificates that are given or that are provided by Google Cloud Platform, because they can only work with global IP address. And if you're using your own NGINX load balancer, the load balancing is done on your cluster, then you can have a global IP. You have to have a regional IP because that's where your load balancer is. Therefore, you're not able to have a managed certificate provided by Google Cloud Platform. Not to worry, there's a cert manager by Jetstack, and it's super easy to deploy, again, just through Helm and Tiller, and you just basically install it as a Helm chart. You set up a staging and production certificate authorities. The staging, because Let's Encrypt has quite tight limits into how long or how many times you can try to generate your certificate. And if you pass those limits, then basically you won't be able to generate it for quite a while. So it's good that they have first a staging environment and then production environment that you can test it and be like, oh, okay, yeah, my DNS is already visible, so it's good, and I can just go for production. So in fact, as I usually do, create cluster with NGINX controller, that is done. And then deploy data feeder to single. Yes, I actually, this is a fun part. So I created the container and I deployed it in the cluster. SSL certificate was generated, WebSockets were running, everything seemed to be great, but I couldn't connect to it. So what was wrong? Well, first part, this was a productive hour of debugging. First problem was that my sockets were running on localhost, right? Localhost, and not all zeros. That means that it never went through. Even though I exposed the port, it just never went through. So I had to change that the WebSockets were running on 0.0.0.0, WebSocket, and then port number, and then the WebSockets actually went through. So that was actually quite an eye-opening. Even though I talked about the very same thing when we talked about deployment into Google Cloud Run. It's the same problem. It just has to run on all zeros and not on localhost. Lesson learned. And the next step, it was like a game book debugging. I had to go step by step. Where is the problem? And eventually I landed on a brand new problem, a Python problem now. And that is that the packages that I was using for G-Event and for Greenlit were just not working as expected. It was crashing. It was doing something that was just not expected. And then I found out, okay, I'm using too new version. The version is too new for the code base. So I went lower, and I went really low a couple of years back. And then I had a problem of SSL verification. It was looking for SSL v3. So I looked again, I Googled for quite a while, and I found that this was a problem introduced in a 2015 version of Debian, where it suddenly broke the G-Event package. So I actually found a release of G-Event package that came out right after this Debian, I think it was Wheezy, release, and voila, suddenly it started working. It was a quick fix. It was SSL v23 instead, and then it started working. So in fact, deployed data feeder should actually be deployed with public IP, reachable and custom URL, and SSL in place. Done and done. Now the reason I don't want to yet put the container into done is because, again, the Docker file is not committed in Git. I really want to be sure, and I really want to test, and that's what I'm actually working on, test data feeder integration with other services. And that's when I'll mark everything as complete. As soon as I learn, okay, it's working, I can move on. And I think I've been babbling for quite a while, and I always say stand-ups should be brief, short, and to the point. So this is exactly where I'm gonna end it. And I would like to, as always, point you and to our blog, pixeesoft.blog, where we regularly publish everything that's going on. So if you don't want to watch the videos all from the beginning, then what you can do is just every week look into pixeesoft.blog, where we have weekly changelog, and there you can find basically TLDR version of everything that's going on. So check that out. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, because that's a whole different level of content than this. Like this video, subscribe if you haven't already, share it with your friends, and comment at any point after this stream if you have any questions. If you're suffering, do you have the very same problems as I do? Because if you do, just type it below. I'd like to know that I'm not the only one who suffers. And yeah, I think that's it. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you at our next daily scrum, which will be tomorrow. See ya.